Floor to His Excellency Mr. Sergiy Kyslytsya, Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs of Ukraine. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, Ukraine welcomes the adoption of Resolution 2325 and appreciates the efforts of the Spanish presidency in the context of the comprehensive review of implementation of Resolution 1540. Ukraine fully associates itself with the statement to be delivered by the delegation of the European Union later on today and wishes to make the following contributions in its national capacity. Ukraine wishes to emphasize that it disassociates itself from the statement to be delivered on behalf of the Commonwealth of Independent States. And in no way does its contents apply to Ukraine. We are very grateful to the President of the Chair of the 1540 Committee and his team for their active leadership on this issue, as we are also grateful to the group of experts for their fundamental work carried out in preparing the report on the review. The document describes the progress made in the implementation of the resolution over the past 5 years. It clearly identifies areas where improvements are needed, and it also contains recommendations for new measures that must be adopted in order to achieve full compliance with the requirements of Resolution 1540. I must note that the results thus far have been achieved in what are extremely difficult conditions. On one hand, we have the threat of the access to weapons of mass destruction and related materials by non-state actors, as well as their use by non-state actors. And this has become a very complex reality today. On the other hand, we have member states of the United Nations who have varying interpretations of the provisions of the resolution and have different approaches in order to strengthen the instruments that exist, the tools that exist under Resolution 1540. Ukraine, since the beginning of its participation in the Security Council, has supported Spain's ambitious objective to strengthen the effectiveness and efficiency of the resolution and the resolution's unique capacity to adapt to new challenges and threats in non-proliferation. We wish to congratulate our Spanish colleagues on having successfully culminated this historic process. Ukraine is among the majority of states, both in the Security Council and in the United Nations, which recognize the need to take urgent measures to strengthen the existing system so as to halt the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Resolution 1540 plays a key role in that regard in order to avoid the use of chemical, biological, and nuclear materials by non-state groups, in particular by terrorists. Mr. President, today, the potential use of weapons of mass destruction is the greatest threat facing humankind. Nevertheless, there remain many significant challenges that must be addressed in order to avoid a situation in which the most dangerous materials in the world might fall into the wrong hands. This could occur both intentionally and as the result of underestimating potential risks. Resolution 1540 complements existing international regimes for the non-proliferation of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons, as well as their means of distribution. The resolution creates a new dimension to this issue in the context of the fight against the illicit trade in relevant materials and also by prohibiting their acquisition by non-state actors. In that regard, we are pleased to welcome the conclusions of the comprehensive review. These conclusions clearly show that there are various examples of improvement in implementation, improvements both in the different types of weapons of differences in implementation and the various types of weapons of mass destruction, as well as in the various obligations contained in Resolution 1540. This approach will help to define specific areas for each interested party in which national or regional efforts should be intensified. Mr. President, Ukraine, which in the past was a nuclear weapons state, and at the same time a full state party to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, the Convention on Chemical Weapons and the Convention on Biological Weapons, as well as a party to all export control regimes. In these capacities, Ukraine is fully committed to the implementation of Resolution 1540 and implements or makes all efforts towards that end. We reaffirm our strong support for the resolution. We did so during the 2016 Nuclear Security Summit held in Washington. There, we joined the initiative of the Republic of Korea, Canada, and Spain entitled Promoting the Full and Universal Application of Resolution 1540 of the United Nations Security Council. At the same time, despite measures being taken by member states to prevent proliferation risks, the world has been witnessing increasingly complex threats in this regard. Risks can emerge not only owing to inadequate national legislation, but also owing to the rapid developments in science and technology, as well as in electronic commerce, and this goes hand in hand with the lack of understanding of threats among those in academia, industry, and civil society. Moreover, international legal prohibitions are of little relevance to terrorists and criminals. Unlike states, non-state actors pursue their hostile intentions, and they are prepared to take unconventional actions and highly unpredictable actions. In addition, the erosion of the existing global order, ongoing violations for which there is no response under international law, and the ongoing conflicts in various parts of the world continue to weaken the architecture of chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear security as a whole. In the past decade, we have heard it said that chemical and biological components are potential weapons for terrorists and for the use by non-state actors and also by rogue states. To our regret, this supposition or statement was borne out in fact, because in recent years there have been reports on cases of alleged use of chemical weapons in Syria. Ukraine joins the very strong condemnation of any use of weapons of mass destruction in that regard. Mr. President, the increase in effective interactions among states and building synergies among all interested parties, including the respective international, regional, sub-regional, and non-governmental organizations and civil society as well, is a crucial and urgent task on the international agenda. In that context, we believe that the 1540 Committee will redouble its efforts in accordance with the recommendations of the comprehensive review and with the resolution that we have just adopted. It will do so as to improve the mechanism by which assistance is provided to states and also in order to facilitate the prioritizing needs in this area. We will constructively commit to work with all interested parties in order to guarantee that the results of the comprehensive review bear fruit and that they help to even further strengthen the global architecture of non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. I thank you.